Hi everyone, welcome back to the next lecture of our lecture series on power system protection switchgear. On today's presentation, we are going to discuss about the principles of arc interruption and various methods of arc interruption. Let's see an overview of the current presentation. We'll start from the learning objectives, introduction to breaker timing, circuit breaker timing, other way, and ratings of circuit breaker. We'll also get introduced about the arc resistance and the factors affecting the arc resistance. We'll also discuss about the principles of arc interruption and various methods of arc interruption. And we'll see a method called resistance switching, which is essentially needed for overcoming the effects of the arc interruption. Finally, we'll summarize the presentation by highlighting the learning outcomes. Before getting into main presentation, let's have a review of what we already discussed through previous videos. We had discussed about the need for protection system. It is essentially needed for the reliable and secure operation of the power system by effectively isolating the faulty component or faulty system from healthy system. And we also discussed about the switch gears. It is all the apparatus or the components like fuse, isolators, circuit breakers, CTs, PTs, and so on. It is actually does the job of disconnecting or de-energizing the equipment for testing purpose, maintenance, or fault clearance purpose. And we also discussed about the arc interruption theories, mainly the recovery rate theory, energy balance theory, and we got introduced about different terms: arcing voltage, recessing voltage, recovery voltage, and we had the introduction of the circuit breakers as a mechanical switching device. It has moving fixer contacts along with the opening mechanism it has, and we ended up the previous session by discussing about the different types of circuit breakers according to the operating voltage, installation location, external design, as well as the arc quenching media. Let's have a main objectives of today's presentation. We'll learn about various ratings of the circuit breaker. We'll be exposed about the principles of arc interruption and different methods of arc interruption, and we'll have a brief of interruption of capacitive current and inductive current and the effects of these two interruption, and we'll discuss about a method called resistance switching method, which will obviously needed for overcoming the effect of the capacitive current or inductive current interruptions. So let's have a look of tripping time of a circuit breaker. It is usually expressed in cycles. The modern high-speed circuit breakers have a tripping time of 3 to 8 cycles. It is divided into two subdivisions. First one is opening time. That is what is shown in the figure 2. It is the time between the instant of trip coil energization to the instant of separation of the main contacts. If the circuit breaker or the overall protection system recognize that there is a fault, the relay of a protection system will start operating. The relay will start picking up, and it will energize the tripping coil to initiate the separation. So from the energization of the tripping coil till the instant of separation of main contact of circuit breaker, the time taken we call it as opening time. Next time is arcing time. So it is the time between the instant of contact separation to the instant of arc extinction. So what is the total breaking time or tripping time of circuit breaker? It is the sum of opening time and the arcing time. That is again, it is a sum shown in the figure. Next, we will have a look of different ratings of circuit breaker. Mainly, we'll deal with the breaking capacity, making capacity, and short time capacity. What is breaking capacity? It is the highest current that any circuit breaker can break at a stated recovery voltage under prescribed condition. It is usually expressed in terms of kiloamps, Ka in short. For example, any circuit breaker, if it is rated for 10 kiloamps short circuit interrupting capacity, it means that that particular circuit breaker can break a current of 10 kiloamps magnitude without any damage to the equipment or circuit. Next rating of a circuit breaker is the making capacity. So it is a peak value of the current in the first cycle after the circuit breaker is closed when the fault is existing. So it is more than the breaking capacity by 2.55 times. It means it is 2.55 times that of the normal short circuit breaking current. So the magnitude of breaking current is less than the making capacity. Next, what is short time capacity? It is the RMS value of the current that any circuit breaker can carry safely for certain specific time without any damage to the circuit or any of the component. It is what is called short time capacity. Next rating of the circuit breaker is the rupturing capacity. It is the maximum power the circuit breaker can interrupt under any fault. It is a product of the rate of breaking current and the rate of voltage, both in kiloamps and kilovolts respectively. It is since being the product, it is expressed in MVA. The selection of the breaking capacity is based on the actual fault condition expected in the system in future, as well as the possible future increase in the fault level. So based on these two parameters, we'll select the breaking capacity of a circuit breaker. That is the main parameter to be decided as a rating of the circuit breaker. So let's have a look at the arcing resistance. What is arc resistance? So under any fault condition, we know that there will be more current. We have the circuit breaker to trip the trip or isolate the faulty equipment or faulty section. So during the opening of the circuit breaker contact, the arc will stuck between the contacts. So when the arc stuck between the contacts, the voltage across the circuit breaker contacts we call it as arc voltage, and the ionization process that will happen. So the ionized air or vapor, that's what we obviously call it as arc, that will form as a conductor between the circuit breaker contacts. The resistance of the arc or resistance of the particular conductor, we call it as an arc. So that is called as arc resistance. So there are different factors that affects the arc resistance. So the arc resistance of the circuit breaker can be affected by degree of ionization, length of an arc, or cross section of the arc. So if we have the less number of ionized particles between the contacts, the arc resistance would be increased. And by lengthening the arc, we can increase the arc resistance, as well as by decreasing the cross section of the arc, we can increase the arc resistance. So these are the different factors that affects the arc resistance. And we'll have to discuss about the principles of arc interruption. Already we got to know what is an arc. It is an ionized particle that stuck between the contacts when the circuit breaker starts moving or start opening. So that arc should be interrupted, that arc should be quenched. So that process we call it as arc interruption. So that's what is told here. This arc should be extinguished without causing any damage to the equipment or any danger to the operating personnel nearby. So there are two methods of arc interruption we have. One is high resistance method and low resistance method. The figure shown below also it depicts that the the arc formation when the moving contact starts moving because of the fault occurrence. So this arc should be interrupted by any of these two methods, either high resistance method or low resistance method. For which application, which method is applicable, we'll see in the next coming presentation or next coming slides. So first is the high resistance method. So by increasing the arc resistance, we try to interrupt the arc. That is what is this method is generally about. So when we separate the contact circuit breaker, the arc resistance increases to a high value. So the potential difference between the contacts is unable to maintain the arc current. When we try to increase the resistance, the potential across the contacts would be insufficient to form an arc, so the voltage gets reduced. So this will reduce the current also because of the high resistance, so that the current would be insufficient to maintain the arc. The arc would not be maintained. That means other way, the arc can be easily interrupted. So due to high resistance we have in the arc, uh, enormous amount of energy would be dissipated as heat. So the huge energy loss would be there because of high resistance method. So that is the major disadvantage of having high resistance method. Because of this drawback, this high resistance method is adopted only in DC circuit breakers or low capacity AC circuit breakers. So there are various means or methods for increasing the arc resistance: by lengthening the arc, or by cooling the arc, by reducing the cross section of the arc, or by splitting the arc. We can increase the arc resistance. So let's see one by one. The lengthening of the arc. So the resistance of the arc is directly proportional to the length. So by increasing the gap between the circuit breaker contacts, we are trying to lengthening the arc somehow. And if the length of the arc is more, the resistance of the arc is increased, that will also be more. So obviously we came to know already that if the resistance of the arc is more, arc can be interrupted very easily. So by lengthening of the arc, we try to quench the arc, or we try to interrupt the arc. And second method is by cooling the arc. So cooling helps in deionization. So ionization is the process that happens during arc formation. So we try to deionize the media between the circuit breaker contact. This obviously increase arc resistance. So effective cooling method can be implemented in order to deionize, or in order to initiate the deionization. So it can be obtained by either gas blast directed along the arc, or any other methods by which you can cool the arc. So the cooling of the arc is helping us in improving the deionization. That is, we try to interrupt the arc by deionization of the medium between the circuit breaker contacts. And the next method of high resistance method is reducing the cross section of the arc for arc interruption. If the cross section of the arc is reduced, the resistance of the arc is increasing. So the cross section of the arc can be reduced by letting the arc pass through a narrow opening, or by having a smaller cross section area of the contacts. So circuit breaker will have the contact, moving contact, or less a fixed contact. So by having the smaller cross section area of the circuit breaker contacts, or by narrow opening within the circuit breaker, we try to incorporate the high resistance, so that the arc can be interrupted. And by splitting the arc, so the resistance of the arc can be increased by splitting the arc into number of smaller arcs in series. So we'll have a provision so that the arc will be splitted into many small arcs. By this splitting of the arc, by this method, we try to have an effect of both lengthening of the arc as well as cooling of the arc. So by arc splitting, the provision what we have for the arc splitting, we try to lengthen the arc as well as we try to cool the arc. So both the effects would be applicable in the last method, that is called splitting of the arc. So these are the methods we have for increasing arc resistance for the purpose of arc interruption. And the next method is low resistance method. Otherwise, it is called as zero current interruption method. So in this method, we will try to interrupt the arc during current zero time. At the time when the current becomes zero, we will try to interrupt the arc. That is what this method says. So this method is useful for the AC circuit operation. And in this method, arc resistance is kept low until the zero current is achieved, where the extinction of the arc taking place naturally, or it is prevented from restriking. So when we try to interrupt the arc at current zero time, we can prevent the formation of the restriking voltage. Restriking voltage. Already we know restriking voltage is the voltage between the circuit breaker contact at the instant of arc extinction. So that recycling voltage can be prevented when we interrupt the arc during current zero time. At the time of current magnitude is zero. So the ionized particles between the contacts tend to maintain the arc. If the arc path is de-energized, the arc will be easily extinguished. So the low resistance can be achieved by cooling the arc or by removing the ionized particles. So these are two methods, high resistance method, low resistance method, which are useful for arc interruption. After the arc interruption can happen in any of these two circuit, either capacitive circuit or inductive circuit. So what are the effects of those arc interruption in capacitive circuit? We'll see now. So the capacity interruption that will happen when we try to interrupt or when we try to open or switch on or off the unloaded long transmission line or any capacitor bank. Obviously, we will have the long transmission line or capacitor banks in the power system. So when we try to interrupt the arc formation in any these two cases, uh, it will see the effect of capacitive current. So the interruption of capacitive current produces high voltage transients across the circuit breaker contact. So now to understand that, we will consider there are two capacitors. One is state capacitance denoted by C, and we have the line capacitance denoted by CL. These two are the capacitance that is formed on both sides of circuit breaker contacts. So the voltage across the circuit breaker, voltage across the state capacitance is VC, and voltage across the line capacitance is VCL. So the resultant voltage that is forming across the circuit breaker contact. So at the instant M, so there are two instances we are going to consider for the better understanding. At the instant M, capacity current is zero. Capacity current is zero. There are two wavesum you could see in dark line, I and E. I is the current or capacity current for this case, and E is the voltage, system voltage. So at the instant M, system voltage is maximum and the capacity current is zero. If the interruption occurs at this moment, so the CL is still charged to maximum voltage. The resultant voltage that appears across the circuit breaker contact, VR, that is the difference between VC and VCL. And at the instant of N, at nth instant, that is highlighted by a red line, after half a cycle of capacitive current, the voltage across circuit breaker gap is twice that of the maximum voltage. So this voltage is getting increased, so that will cause for the restriking voltage across the circuit breaker contacts. So while interrupting the capacity currents, we'll be able to realize high transient voltage that would build across the CB contacts. It is the effect of arc interruption in capacitive current circuit. So it will go on from Emax to 3 Emax or 5 Emax, it will go on. What about the interruption of inductive current? when we try to interrupt the low inductive circuit, the energy stored in the magnetic field, that is in the magnetic the inductive element, that is half Li square, that appears across the state capacitance. When we try to open circuit breaker, the voltage or the energy stored in the magnetic field that would appear across the stray capacitance as well. So that energy is would form as a electrostatic energy, that is of CV square. So at this interruption, at this moment of interruption, both the voltages, the voltage across the energy stored in the inductor and the energy stored in stay capacitance would be equal. Half Li square would be equal to half CV square. So the voltage that appears across the circuit breaker contact at any instant of arc interruption can be found by V is equal to small I square root of L by C. So this voltage, prospective voltage, will go on increase. That will cause for restriking of the arc. So the current will fall to zero before the natural current becomes zero. So the phenomenon of making the current arc current to fall to zero before the natural current becomes zero, that is what we call as current chopping. As you could see in the waveform, current waveform or current waveform, first chopping and the subsequent current chopping is shown. So immediately after the first current chopping, we're able to see the first restrikes. So that potential is the energy stored in both the element, magnetic, inductive and capacitive element, is not weakened. So we are able to see as many restrikes as possible until this potential becomes weaker. It will go on touch the zero and restrike, getting restriked again. So at the end, we are going to see that the current falls to zero before the final current becomes zero, before the natural current becomes zero. That means naturally if the current flows like that, it should reach zero at later stage only, but because of this interruption, arc interruption of inductive current, we are able to reach the arc current is able to reach zero at even before that time. This phenomenon we call it as current chopping. So based on the arc interruption at capacitive current or inductive current, we could see that there is a restriking voltage, high restriking voltage that appears across the circuit breaker contact. So it needs to be overcome. So in order to overcome that, we have a method called resistance switching method. So it is nothing but connecting a resistor in parallel with the arc or in parallel to the circuit breaker contact. When the circuit breaker starts opening, there will be an arc formation, right? So we try to pass on the arc current. A portion of the arc current we are allowing through the parallel circuit, that is through the parallel resistance R. So this weakens the current flowing through the arc. Since the current flowing through the arc is reduced, deionization happens. Deionization would be faster enough so that you can immediately arrest the arc, immediately interrupt the arc without having much of the high restriking voltage. So because of the connection of the resistance in parallel to the circuit breaker contacts, we are trying to increase arc resistance and so on for immediately or very easily interrupt the arc. So it is about the DC arc interruption by using resistance switching in the case of high voltage DC circuit breakers, right? So in the right hand side of the diagram, right hand side, we have seen a circuit, we are seeing a circuit diagram where only the resistance is connected across circuit breaker. It is applicable to low voltage circuits. But for high voltage DC circuit breakers, there is a specific switching sequence applied, where if you could see there are two switches S1 and S2. So switch S2 would be closed under normal operation. There are three elements: resistance, inductance, capacitance. Along with that, we have two switches S1 and S2. If you could see on the left hand side figure, two switches S1 and S2, resistance R, inductance L and capacitance C, along with the circuit breaker that is denoted as M. So we try to interrupt the arc at low current or current zero position, right? But in the case of DC, high voltage DC obviously won't reach zero at any moment. It would obviously on one cycle it won't cross zero. There is no zero crossing possible in DC. So how should we interrupt the arc in a high voltage DC circuit? That is what is explained through this switching sequence. There are two switches used. One is S1 and S2. S1 on top and S2 near to resistance. So S2 switch is opened during normal operation of the circuit. So during normal operation, there is a live potential. So the voltage across the line that would appear across the RLC circuit. So because of the closing of switch S2. So when we try to interrupt the arc, so we could realize that there is a fault. We need to immediately open the circuit. So for opening the circuit breaker, we need to go for either high resistance method or low resistance method. Low resistance method is applicable here. So we try to interrupt the arc formation, arc interruption at current zero. Current zero is not possible in DC as far as HVDC circuit breaker is concerned. So at the moment we decide to interrupt the arc, we open the switch S2 and we close switch S1. So there is a closed path from L, C to M. That circuit is closed. So during normal operation, the energy would be stored in inductance capacitance. That energy would be released through the circuit breaker contact. So that is going to be an AC circuit or AC supply. So that would cause for the zero crossing. Voltage would be passing through the zero. So at the moment of current zero, you'll be able to trip the arc. You'll be able to interrupt the arc as far as HVDC circuit breaker is concerned. So we could see the simplest method of using resistance method or resistance switching for arc interruption, and for high voltage DC circuit also, high voltage DC circuit breaker also, there is a specific switching sequence used for arc interruption at low current or current zero interruption method. So this is a specific case, very interesting to know. I have just quoted the reference from IET article where they have discussed about the HVDC circuit breakers. So let's have a quick summary of what we had discussed today. We started with the introduction and we mainly discussed about the breaker timings, and these are the main key points which we need to revise through. Ratings of circuit breakers we discussed as breaking capacity, making capacity, short time capacity and rupturing capacity, all that we discussed. And we discussed about the principles of arc interruption. Arc need to be quenched without causing damage to the circuit element or any of the operating personnel. So there are different methods of arc interruption we discussed about. One is high resistance method, another one is low resistance method. High resistance method is applicable to DC circuit or low voltage AC circuit because of the drawback it has. So what is that drawback? It leads to huge energy wastage. Enormous energy would be wasted by high resistance method. So it is not preferred for the regular AC circuit breakers. So we need to go for low resistance method only or current zero interruption method for the AC circuit breakers. That's what we discussed about. And we discussed about the resistance switching in order to overcome the high risk striking voltage that appears across the circuit breaker. It just bypasses the arc current. And we discuss more beyond the syllabus about the HVDC circuit breaker and the specific switching sequence that are implemented for the HVDC operation, HVDC circuit breaker operation. So, out of all this presentation, what are the outcomes we can aim for? So, as a learner, you'll be able to design the circuit breaker based on the different ratings of the circuit breaker. Breaking, making, short time, and rupturing capacities. You'll be able to design the circuit breaker easily, and based on the fundamental understanding of principles of arc interruption and methods of arc interruption, you'll be able to choose a suitable arc interruption method based on the rating of a circuit breaker. And based on the switching principle, either simplest resistance switching method or the specific resistance method we discuss, as a learner will be able to identify the switching pattern, correct switching pattern according to the need, whether it is aimed for DC circuit or AC circuit, whether we need to go for either high resistance method or low resistance method, and so on. So based on all these discussions, you'll be able to design a circuit breaker. You'll be able to suitably choose the correct arc interruption method and switching pattern. Switching pattern is obviously meant for arc interruption according to the need, according to the application, whether we plan for DC circuit breaker or AC circuit breaker, and based on the voltage levels also. That's it from this presentation, viewers. Thank you for watching. Thank you.